Hi, welcome to this course. This course is all about Buttercream, and it's aimed at the students who use a website that maybe don't want to use ganache and prefer to stick to Buttercream. So what we're going to take you through in this course is how to make just a standard UK style Buttercream, and how to add ganache to it to make it a little bit stronger and be able to withstand the sugar paste better. Very similar to how the Americans add the white shortening, and how to apply it to the cake, very similar to the ganache, and then how to ice the cake to get this nice smooth finish. So the course, as I say, it's really aimed at people who prefer not to use ganache for whatever reason. They maybe can't get hold of cheap chocolate, or maybe for a cake that's for a very young person that they don't really want the sort of strong taste of ganache. And sometimes people just don't like ganache, so that gives them the option of using the buttercream. And you can see here it's actually it's very neat. I've managed to get a very neat finish from it, quite surprisingly, because I generally do prefer to stick to the ganache. So I'll be showing you how to make this nice and neat cake. Hi, welcome to this course. This course is all about Buttercream. Now, Buttercream is something you'll not see much on this website, because I prefer to use ganache. And ganache can be used the exact same way as Buttercream. You can use it to fill your cake, and then you can use it to put over the sponge to prepare it for the end sugar paste stroke fondant. Also, Buttercream, the same as ganache, you can use as the actual end result. So you can do a crumb coat, then a second coat, and just leave it with no fondant stroke sugar paste on it, just more of a sort of lighter type cake. So what I'm going to do is just talk about different buttercreams. If you're a complete beginner, this is ideal for you, just to sort of open your eyes a little bit to what just exactly is buttercream, and the different terms used all over the world for it. Or different recipes. So in the UK, traditionally, you'd have a Victoria sponge cake with some buttercream and jam in the middle of it, and some icing sugar dusted on top. In the UK, generally, it consists of icing sugar and butter. Some use salted, some use unsalted. I prefer unsalted. Usually a splash of vanilla and a splash of milk or cream, depending where you are. And that's traditional buttercream in the UK. In America, they like to do a slightly different recipe because they're very much into buttercream, and they like to use Trex or Crisco. It's a white fat shortening. It's just a vegetable fat. And in America, quite often, if they're making flowers or piped objects for decoration on top of the cake, they'll actually use 100% Crisco or the Trex with icing sugar. So it's very waxy and it pipes very neat, and it holds its structure very, very easily. Or something you'll see in their websites out in America or on magazines, some magazines quite a lot, that use 50-50, so half butter, half Trex. So it just depends where you are. Particularly, I don't think it goes down that well in the UK, because we've been so used to just butter. The taste and the texture we don't particularly like in the UK. So quite often people just put a little drop of the Trex in, just to help just put the structure a little bit more into the buttercream. The beauty of using the Trex Crisco is it does make the buttercream a bit more waxy, so it doesn't look as grainy on the cake. So that's a good thing about it. So what I'm going to do is, though, I'm not going to use the Trex today, because, as I say, I'm not really a big buttercream fan, but I do use buttercream quite a lot in children's cakes. But what I like to do is replace the Trex with ganache, chocolate. I always like to get the ganache in somewhere. And what I've got here is some white chocolate ganache. There's a recipe on the website how to make this, and I'm going to use the ganache to help get the structure and the strength to the buttercream, and I just feel like it gives it a much nicer flavour. Also the white chocolate buttercream just tastes lovely, and it just sets really, really nice as well. So I'm going to show you how to make normal buttercream and how to then add the ganache just to get that extra strength. So that's what's coming up next. Okay, so we're going to start off with the buttercream recipe now. So what we've got here is 250 grams times 2, so 500 grams of unsalted butter. Now you can see Lure Park, that's probably the top end brand in the UK for butter. I'm going to be honest, when I do cakes that are just for the filming or a class cake, I would go for the cheaper brands, to be honest. But if I'm doing it for a real customer, then I want to use the more expensive product. So with butter, I do this every time. You're supposed to bring it out the fridge and let it bring it up to room temperature before you use it. And I've forgotten to do that. So what we're going to do is just open it up, pop it in the container here, and then just zap it in the microwave to soften it up. And we used to do this all the time in the bakery. We just have a big bowl full of butter and you just put it in the microwave for 2 or 3 minutes. Just all you want to do is you want to be able to get it soft, and the end of the knife should just go right through the butter without any problem at all. Okay, so all I want to do is just cut it up into small chunks. Problem is obviously room temperature depends where you are in the world, because room temperature in the middle of winter in the northern hemisphere is still going to be too cold. So you're still going to have to put it in the microwave or put it in the boiler room to bring it up to temperature. Okay, so you can see they're just cutting it up and place it in the bowl. Okay, so I'm going to do the same with this one. And then we're going to pop it in the microwave on a high heat, but I'm just going to put it in for 10 seconds at a time until it's ready. Now, I don't have the microwave here, so I'm just going to do that off camera, and then when I come back, you'll see how nice and soft the butter has melted. So into quarters, there we go. Okay, so there we go, so pop that in there. Now, as I say, just put the end of your knife in, and if it goes right through easily enough, then that's it ready to start the buttercream. Okay, so that's the buttercream, the butter being in the microwave. You can see it's starting to melt, and you can see that I can put the knife end right through. It's nice and soft, so that's it ready to go. So what I want to do is just pop that into the mixer. There we go. Nice. And then what I want to do is just pop it on, should I say. Let's pot it on. And you want to just cream the butter first on a low speed. Oops. And just cream the butter. So just want to bring it all nice together, nice and waxy. Okay, so you should sieve your icing sugar before you put it in. But I'm going to be honest, over the last 10 years using silver spoon, it's so refined, it never has lumps in it. I don't think I've ever had it that's had lumps in it. So I tend not to sieve this one. But the Tate & Lyle and other brands out there, I generally do sieve when I get it. So I always try and buy silver spoon where I can, because it just saves you having such a mess in your house. If you do have to sieve, try and do it outside if it's a dry day, because it does make a mess. So it's we've got 1 kilo to go into the 500 grams of butter. So that's it creamed. So it's just, I don't know if you can see that, I'll just tip it over. You see inside? Yeah, okay, so there we are. So what I want to do now is get your food bag ready. And we just want to pop in over the top. Oops. So you don't get icing sugar everywhere, and just switch it on. Then you can do it in little pulses when you're making it, but generally I just put it on number 1 because the bag's going to protect your room anyway from getting all dusty. You can go up to number 2. Okay, so you can hear the motor struggle a little bit more, so it means I need to add more. I can start adding more icing sugar. Okay. Yeah. So it's about, suppose I'm doing it in thirds. So that's the second one. That's 2/3 add, and then 1 more third to go. Whoops. It's a good job I had the bag on there. Okay, so there we go, so that's that almost mixed in. Okay, I just want to add the last one. Now, as I'm sure most cake shops and bakers will tell you, if one's in a hurry, you just throw the whole lot in and switch it on with the bag over the top. It does just about the same job if you're in a hurry. But I just like to make it look prim and proper to camera. But it won't make any difference if you just throw it all in a hurry. Okay, so there we go, so that's that mixing up, so that's good. So if I was making the buttercream here for, say, the middle of a cake, or to put into a cupcake, and it was just a yummy, yummy cake that I wanted, it wasn't structural or to make flowers, then I would pop it up to maybe medium to high speed and just put a bit more volume into it so it's nice and light and fluffy. So when you're actually eating the cake, it's got a nice lightness to it. If you're doing more decorative stuff like piping flowers or coating a cake, then you probably want it a little bit, maybe perhaps a little bit more dense. So then just keep it on a lower speed, so you're not putting too much air into the buttercream. Okay, so I'll just take the bag off. So look, not that much mess at all. So you can see there, just mix it up. So what I want to now is get the red scraper. Just cut that, drop it down, bring it off. Okay, and all I want to do now is just scrape it down, because obviously you want to make sure that it's not sticking to the it's all mixed through properly. Okay, so get your scraper and just round and just make sure you're scraping it down. Okay, so we'll pop the beater back in. Okay, find it, put it back on again. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to put it up to 3. It's a little bit higher speed. Not for too long, so maybe just about a minute or so. Okay, so I'm just cut it the others now. So at this stage is when you can actually add your flavouring. So if you want to put some vanilla in, you can pop some vanilla in, or lemon essence, or whatever the flavour you want to use, just to sort of finish it off. And just remember to taste it. So you need to taste it to see if you've got the right amount through it. Now, I always like putting real vanilla through buttercream, because you obviously get all the nice little speckles through it, and it just looks really nice and homemade looking, so that's quite nice. So we're going to finish there. That's the buttercream actually ready as a standard buttercream. So if this was being made for just a normal UK style buttercream, then that's ready. You can add a little bit of milk, or you can add some vanilla, as I say. Now you can see the consistency here. If you just get the palette knife there, it's got a nice consistency. It's almost like the ganache consistency. It's going to have a nice creamy taste to it, and just lovely. So I'm going to have a quick tidy up just now, and then once we come back, we're going to get the ganache and start adding some of the white chocolate ganache to the buttercream. Okay, so now we're going to move on to just adding the ganache to the buttercream to make it a white chocolate buttercream. Now, at this stage, if you want to add structure to your buttercream for piping flowers, or just so it smooths on a little bit easier maybe on the cake, you can start to add your tricks. Now, the recipes online, what they do is they reduce the butter and add tricks, which makes sense, okay? But over the years when we've done it, we've just added the tricks, and it seems to still have the same consistency and taste than doing it the other way around. So because we just want to add a minimal amount of tricks just to get the structure, so we're still got the full-on taste, where obviously the more butter you reduce, the less of the taste, so to speak. Okay, so what I've got here is a dessert spoon, and I've got some ganache warmed up in the microwave, not too much, just a little drop, and I've got the buttercream here. So now I've taken some out of the normal buttercream, so I can taste the difference. So even if you're doing the tricks and not the white chocolate ganache, take some of the normal out so you can keep tasting it, and also checking the texture as it mixes it in. Okay, so let's just pop this back on. Okay, on low speed. So you can see that the white ganache is the same consistency, so just soft peak, and so it's a big dessert spoonful, and I just want to drop that in. Smells nice. Now I can see the consistency changing already, and I can smell it's changing as well. It's not just a sweet, it's definitely got more of a creaminess than a sort of sugary sweet smell coming from it. So there we go, so that's 3 tablespoons or dessert spoons. Okay, we just put it up to second speed. Okay, so let's just bring it off. And actually straight away I can tell the difference, let's just see. Don't know if you can see the camera, but it definitely looks a lot shinier and it's got more of a waxiness to it. Okay, so it's looking good. Okay, so what I want to do now is just scrape it down just to make sure we've mixed it all through properly. So I'm just leaving it on for a minute, just about a minute or so, just make sure it's blending together. Okay, let's just stop there. I could have left it a little bit longer, but it still looks lovely. So we'll take that out, let's just get a nice big spoon there and just lift it out. And definitely it's got a nice structure to it. See, it's just a bit firmer to look. You can see there, definitely got the stiff peak consistency just by adding the chocolate in. And it feels really nice and waxy and smooth. And tastes very good as well, I'm sure. So there we go. So that's doing buttercream and adding white chocolate ganache as an alternative to using Trex. Okay, so if you want to colour your buttercream up, the best thing to use is use a paste colour. Okay, this is a paste colour from Squire's Kitchen, and it's ice blue. Okay, so all I want to do is open it up. Either get a cocktail stick or just get a small knife that you can pop in. You can see there, just pop that on there and just scrape off the excess. Close that back over just in case. And you can just clean the excess off the knife to keep it clean. There we go. And then just get a palette knife or a little spoon, and then we can just mix that through. And you can see there the colour very quickly changing. And there we go, as easy as that. Now, if you want to colour a big batch, obviously you can just keep it on the mixer and put the food colour into the mixer and mix it through together. Or you can put it on the table if you've got lots of different colours, or just get lots of little bowls and you can do different colours in each little bowl. You get these at the supermarket. And if you do it on the table, you can just spread back and forward. If I'm doing a big batch, sometimes I like to do it on the table because I can see the colour completely changing. Sometimes in a bowl, it's hard to see the colour because it's got shadows. And that's it, as simple as that. Okay, so now what I want to do is the same buttercream that I've got the white chocolate, but say I've got a cake coming up or a cupcake batch that needs to be milk chocolate. Very simply, all I did is warm up some milk chocolate ganache. I'm going to do the same thing again. We switch it on and just add some softened ganache. Okay, so it's a little bit stiffer because it's been out of the microwave for a bit too long, so it's starting to stiffen back up, but it'll still mix through fine. So you can see there, just to check through the consistency, it's still soft. Okay, so I just want to pop in a few dollops of this. Now on the website we've got a recipe for chocolate buttercream using Galaxy chocolate bar, which works just the same way. This is probably just a bit more luxurious, doing it with the ganache. So that was 3, And I'm just going to put this last one in. Now, if you find the consistency goes soft, just by putting the thing in the fridge, you'll find that it does set, it goes hard because it's got the ganache in it. Alternatively, if you've not got time for that, just pop some more ice and sugar into the mix, just a little bit of time to try and stiffen it back up. Okay, so I'm now going to put it up to higher speed. Okay, so just slow that down. And then what I want to do is just bring it off and scrape it down. Okay, back on. And all I want to do is just bring it back together again. And there we go. So if we just bring that off, oops, down. Now you can see it's very, very pale in colour, but it's just a milk chocolate. It's just a very light buttercream, but it's definitely got the chocolate flavour through it. And you can see there just the consistency. What can I use? I'll just use the, let's see, just use this. Just to show you the consistency. Okay, you can see there, it's still got the strength. Okay, it's a little bit on the soft side. So all I would do, if I'm going to use this for a cake, is just pop it in the fridge for a couple of minutes, just to let it firm up before I put it on. But you can see there, it's still very strong. But it's got a nice, really shine to it. It's really soft and waxy. So a really nice consistency. Okay. Hi there, and today's tutorial is how to make chocolate buttercream. So what we've got in front of me for the ingredients is 1 kilogram of ice and sugar, 500 grams of unsalted butter, which has been softened in the microwave, and we've got 250 grams of milk chocolate, Galaxy chocolate, which is 25% minimum cocoa. So it's not high cocoa for the buttercream. And then just as a sort of added extra, we've got some cocoa, 100% cocoa, which is a fair trade one. I just use that at the end just to get the consistency right after I've added the chocolate, because sometimes the chocolate can soften the buttercream. So rather than use more ice and sugar, I use some cocoa just to bring it to the right consistency. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just cream the butter in the bowl. So just pour your unsalted butter. As I say that, you can either leave it out for room temperature to soften, or just pop it in the microwave if you've not got time to wait, like that, like me. And then using the K-beater, and all I want to do, just move that out of the way, is just pop that on the mixer. There we are. Okay, so we just want to put it up to a medium speed, so up to maybe number 4. Okay, and we just want to cream that for a minute or 2. There we go, so that's a minute or 2 later. So I just want to bring that off and have a look. So you can see there we've got a nice soft butter there. Okay, so what we want to do is just scrape down the butter. Okay. There we are, good. And then pop that back on the mixer. And now we're going to start adding the ice and sugar. Okay, so you want to find an old tea towel, or what I use is an actual bed pillow cover, because it's a little bit larger, and that just stops the kitchen getting covered in ice and sugar. Okay, so I just place that on there. Okay, so what I want to do is just add, I've not brought a scoop with me, but I'll just use this. I just want to add a little bit of ice and sugar at a time. So about a quarter. There we go. And then just pop the cover over the top and just kind of hold it closed, and then just switch it back on. So you just let it mix for a wee minute and then have a look underneath just to see if it's all came together. Yeah. So that's come together, it's just creaming away there. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep on adding and adding until I've added all the ice and sugar. So I'm just going to go away, and then when I come back it'll all be added, and then we're going to add the chocolate to it after that. Okay, welcome back. So that's the ice and sugar all added. So what I want to do now is I want to take it off the mixer. And what I want to do is I want to scrape it down so that it's there's nothing stuck on the sides, no butter that's not been mixed through. So just round your wooden spoon or your scraper and just scrape down and scrape off the paddle as well. And then what we can do is just start adding the chocolate. There we go, so that's fine, just a quick scrape. It's pretty much mixed anyway. There we are. So just pop that back on the mixer. There we go. Right, pull that up. Okay, so just checking the chocolate, so it's still soft. Doesn't set that fast because it's not got much cocoa in it. So that's perfect. So we just want to switch the mixer back on. And all I'm wanting to do is just slowly start to add the chocolate. It smells amazing. So whenever I'm making the chocolate buttercream, I always just try and pick a nice brand of chocolate that most people tend to like to eat. So like Dairy Milk or Galaxy. And this stuff was only £1 a bar, so it's only cost £2 for the chocolate. So very cheap. There we go, I'm sure somebody can lick the bowl with that later on. Okay, so just want to let that mix through. I'll give my hands a wash. And then this is the stage where I just want to have a look and see what the consistency is like, and then that's when I want to add the cocoa powder. So just popping it up to medium speed, and I'll just bring that off again just so you can have a little look. Okay, so you can see there it looks lovely, nice colour, and it looks pretty good texture actually. It's a pretty stiff peak, so I don't really need to add too much. So I'm maybe just going to add a little sprinkle just to sort of bring a little more depth to the colour. Okay. Okay, so let's just see. Whoops. There we go. So that's about 4 tablespoons, I would say, that's just put in there. Okay, so remember to put your sheet back over the top. And just switch that on. Oh. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so I just want to give it a quick beat, and I just want to leave that for a couple of minutes just to really put a bit of air into it to aerate the buttercream, because we want the buttercream to be quite light and fluffy. The problem with people is that they stop too early and it makes it a little bit too tough, a bit chewy. So just give it a couple of minutes, scrape it down, put it back on again, and then that's your buttercream finished. So when I come back, that'll be the buttercream ready to use. Okay, welcome back. So that's the buttercream being made. So you can see here, got a lovely consistency. It's not too rich, just perfect for a nice chocolate cake. So the only test is that's left is just have a wee taste. Let's just see. Perfect. It's just got a little bit of chocolate flavour. It's not too rich, and it's perfect for doing sort of kiddies' birthday cakes without it being too rich, like the ganache. So hopefully that works well for you, and that's a nice little lesson. Okay, so we're going to cover the cake in the chocolate buttercream. So the first thing I want to do is we just want to draw a line. So remember where to put the lid and the base, and just pop the knife all the way through, like so. I want to take that off, place it over there. Okay, so we want to get a palette knife. And the first thing I want to do is just lift up and always pop some buttercream on the base just to stop it from moving. And then we just want to lift up and want to pop buttercream in the middle. Okay, once you get the dollop in the middle, just want to go back and forward and just spread that around. Try not to mix the crumb. So don't worry about the buttercream coming out the sides, as long as we've got a nice flat middle. And you can see how lovely like that buttercream looks. Okay, so then what I want to do is get the line. There we go, place it on and just give it a bit good press down, like so. There we go. Now you can see this cake's very crumbly, so we need to put we have to put a crumb coat on. So it's a little bit different from ganache. So you need to put one coat on with the crumb. So always have a bowl next to you. So when you're putting the buttercream on, to clean the knife before you put it back into the bowl, so you're not getting crumbs back in the bowl. Okay. So you just want to get a really big dollop. Now, actually, I'm going to pop this on the turntable, which might be a little bit easier for you. Oh, there's one behind me. Okay, so big dollop, and then just paddle that on. Okay, and we're just going all the way around, and you're just trying not to get crumb on. So you can see I'm being really generous with the buttercream. Okay, so there we go. So you can see that's we got the buttercream on. And I'm just going round like that. Now, once we've got it on there, you want to get your metal scraper, dip it in the hot water, rinse it off, and we just want to go round and just smooth that off. Like so. Now there's no crumbs there, so I can go back in there. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, so let's just see. Yeah, it looks quite smooth. So I'm just going to do it one more time. So on there and round and off like that. And there's some crumbs in that one, so let's just pop that in there. Okay, so all I want to do is pop this in the fridge, and that's going to go really nice and hard, and then we're going to put a second layer on there. This time the second layer is going to have the proper lid before we trim off the excess. Okay, so you can see there the buttercream is firmed up, so that's good. So I want to just pop the second layer on top. And this, again, on quite thick, and this gives a nice, strong structure for the side of the cake. So it's the only sort of, I suppose, down point of the buttercream is you just got to do 2 layers rather than just the 1 layer. So all the way around. Now make sure we're getting that lip up the top. You can see there I've pretty much got it up there. Okay, there we are. And then hot water. Okay, so on the side, hand round there, and then we'll just go round, and you can see how nice and smooth that looks. So let's just spin that around and have a look. Looks nice, a few wee air bubbles, so back on again. There we are. Okay, so that looks nice, happy with that. Nice and smooth, yep, all the way around there. So that's good. So back in the fridge or the freezer for another 5 minutes, and then we can work on the top. Okay, so that's the cake been in the freezer. So it's firm to touch, so I want to get a hot palette knife, and the same as the ganache, we want to cut away that lid. Okay. Now I'm definitely not going to put that back in the same mix, so that is definitely Scooby Snacks, because there's too much crumb going to be through it. I'll just leave that. And then just round again. Oops. There we are. Okay, so just a little bit there that I need to fix. So you can see there we have still got the same sharp edge as we do with a ganached cake. It's just it's very soft to touch compared to ganache, which would be absolutely rock solid at this stage. So a quick tidy up, and then we're going to just finish with putting some buttercream on top. Okay, so if you just get your buttercream now, and we just want to pop it on the top. Now I'm only going to do one coat up here, because there is a skin, so I'm just going to do one big thick coat on there like so, and just paddle that over top. Yes, that's good. Nice and thick. Okay, and what I want to do is make sure it comes right into the edge, and then try and get it nice and flat. Okay, and then the same as a ganache. Ouch. So pinching it on top, and then we just want to smooth it across. And then lift off at the end member. And there we go. So pop it on the turntable with the hot water, and we just want to take off that excess around the side. There we are. Okay, so back in the fridge, 5-10 minutes. Okay, so that's the cake been in the fridge, so it feels firm. So just going to get a small palette knife this time. I'm just going to pull it around and try and trim off that top bit. Now the buttercream is a lot softer, so just be careful. So that's the bit that I kind of took off, so I didn't go down the way and take the side off. So I've just got to try and trim that away. And then back onto the normal bit. There we go. Okay, so because we can't do all the same techniques as the ganache, we just have to go round now and very carefully try and smooth it off. And I'm using a small cranked palette knife for this. Okay, so there we go. So that's just got to that stage. So now what I want to do is just go round and just try and just neaten this bit up here again. Just smoothing it off. And I want to just go round, and any bits that came off there, if you want you can lie it on the cake, the scraper, and just the cranked one, and pull it across. And just take off any bits that are sitting proud of the side. There we go. And that's pretty much it. You can see that it looks pretty sharp, and the sugar paste is going to go on fine. Okay, so that's the cake being in the fridge, so it feels nice and firm. So we just want to get some icing sugar. So I thought I'd just do a nice hot pink. So soften it up, a little bit more icing sugar. And then just start rolling out. Now the temperature in here is probably about 28 degrees because we're having a bit of a heat wave. So that's why I'm using the fridge so much. So it's not the best temperature for using buttercream, to be honest. So I've got just over 1 kilo of sugar paste here. And I think I've got a bit too much, so I think 1 kilo is fine. Okay, so just flip it over. Okay, so let's see, that feels like a good thickness. Okay, so you can see there, we've got about 4 mils in thickness. Okay, so I'm just going to make it into a bit of a circle. There we are. Okay, and then we just want to lift that over and over to the cake. Okay, so once we get it on, we just want to open it up, smooth it off, just check for any air, just get rid of that air bubble, and then want to go round and smooth. Now you've got to be super duper gentle. You've not got that hard base like the ganache. And then we're just going to go down very quickly. Okay, so just open up and just rub them down from the bottom. Open up and then just rub it in. There we go, so there we are. So once we've got that on there, we just want to smooth round. Okay, and then get your cake smoother, side smoother, and we just want to go round and trim off that excess. There we go. Okay, soften that up. So you can see here I've got quite a lot left. I've probably got about 1.5 kilos, about how much? About 400 grams of sugar paste left there. And I want to go around with the cake smoother. So I can see an air bubble's popped up already. So just round. Is that big air bubble there? Yeah. Okay, and then if we get the top, smooth that off, and then just clap round the side if you want to get it a little bit sharper. So you've got to be really gentle because it's buttercream. So because it is so warm in here, the butter, it feels like it just feels like jelly underneath, just because it's 28 degrees in the classroom. So it definitely got a bit of a, I think it's enable, either that, it's the buttercream starting to build up. Nope, it's in here. It's definitely in your bubble. Come on, out you go. There we go, that's better. Okay, so just keep going round. I'm not trying to get it too sharp, I just don't want to be overly round. And there we go. There you are, so one buttercream and iced cake.